it up. But if we have access to it, I just don't wanna lock ourselves down, so I'm for the split then.
That's a good question. Thank you, Rob. Kevin, your comments?
I'm for the split as well. Is there any opportunity for our county commissioner, may I look to be involved as this goes down the road as well, to be an advocate for this project as far as enhanced commerce, et cetera, for the city of St. Francis?
Yep, so Mayor and Council, we wanted to get through the staff meeting that we have scheduled and see where things go for there. EDI and Mr. Prairie is looking at some possible entrance redesigns, so we're waiting for new plans on that as well. So between some updates with EDI and our staff meeting with the county, I think we'll know shortly before we start heading into that site plan process if we need to go up the ladder to the commissioners. So.
Okay. Well, according to Kate, this showed, and Beth, it showed a lot of promise. It's gonna be a very nice facility if it comes to fruition, and these people do a good job, and they've done excellent work around cities and other areas, so I think it'd be pretty neat. And again, our community is aging, and a lot of people want to stay here around their families and whatnot. It'd be a big plus, and they've done nicely. It would be a nice marquee 47, however, that's going to turn out down the road. They were kind of disappointed too that the developer couldn't come in off 47, but they would make it so they'd be noticed from there as such. So no, I'm all for it at this juncture. I know it takes baby steps before we can start running, but it looks like a good start.
Thank you, Kevin. One thing I want to say here, ask a question on is, with the redesign of the corridor 47, is there some way that could come into play here for access to it? Knowing that MnDOT with our council, our consulting firm, letting them know that this project is going forward, that, if we can't get something off the ambassador side, maybe it can be worked into the corridor change on 47 access.
So we did notify the new consultant on the MnDOT project of all the density that's coming up 47 in the near future. As far as access, I think MnDOT is much more likely to reduce accesses than grant them. So I think it'd probably be a non-starter as far as accessing on that side of 47. But they certainly are aware of the density and how that's going to impact the traffic volume.
Of this project or all projects?
They're aware of this project and the future land use map that staff projected to be developed out north of 47, so quite a few projects.
Well, see, because what Joe's saying, we all saw that preliminary site plan. It looked pretty good to all of us, we really did like it. But this company, EDI Vista, is professional. I have no doubt about that. And so to me, I know they'll make it work. I just hope it, if they flip-flop it, they flip it or whatever they have to come down to, but that layout they did was a pretty good layout, I thought. I thought it would really be a plus to the whole area, so, I guess we'll have to wait to see, but I guess it starts with us by approving this, right? Okay, we have all comments from council. So on that, let's take it one at a time here. I have a motion to adopt resolution 2021-XX approving the Mets and Bounds subdivision, splitting the property at 23465 St. Francis Boulevard, northwest of the two parcels. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Councilor Robinson makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Mewbauer makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 2, resolution 2021-XX, approving a comprehensive plan amendment at 23465 St. Francis Boulevard Northwest, and authorizing submission of the amendment to the Met Council for review. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Councilor Robinson makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Bauer makes that second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck to HKGI and the city. Press, 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 push, push, push. Okay. Moving on to item 9B, amendment to City Code Section 10-61-01, dwelling, single unit, detached, first reading.
I've got this one as well. Mayor and Council, notes here. Before you tonight is the first reading of a requested zoning code amendment. So the applicant has requested to construct a new single-family home with a flat roof, so that's what you can see in the image there. However, single-family dwellings are required by code to have pitched roofs right now. So the applicant is requesting an amendment to allow flat roofs on single-family dwellings.
Just quickly to cover kind of definitions and make sure we're all on the same page. So flat roof, when you live in Minnesota, typically what we're talking about isn't perfectly flat. It would have a low slope for water drainage, snow, ice, all of that. So typically we're talking about a roof pitch that's less than 10%, somewhere between a 1/2 or 1/12 roof pitch. And then a pitched roof, the zoning code does require a pitch of at least 312. So those are kind of the differences between the two. So the existing code regulation, as far as staff understands, is something that was used as a way to discourage the location of manufactured homes on single-family lots. So that was obviously a past regulation. Today, that's something that's outdated. The state does protect manufactured homes and require them to be allowed anywhere that a traditional single-family home would be allowed. So staff did run this by the building official just to make sure that everything is in shape there. And the building official was supportive of the amendment request as well as the roof that's being proposed with this particular project. He did note that all new buildings are required to meet the building code. So if there's concerns with snow or ice or kind of weight load on the roof, that's something that would be addressed as part of the building review process when a permit comes through. So the proposed amendment itself, I apologize for all of the text on the screen. We're looking at subsection C there. So it would allow roofs for single unit dwellings to be flat or pitched. And then if the single unit dwelling includes a pitched roof, then the requirement for a 312 pitch with a 1-foot overhang is still in effect. So the Planning Commission reviewed this request at their July meeting. They held a public hearing, but there weren't members of the public that spoke for or against the amendment. And then the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the ordinance amendment. So tonight, City Council action is required. Again, this is the first reading of this ordinance. So the request would be to either approve, deny, or table the application. And I believe the motion is in your packet on page 72. Otherwise, it's on the screen.
All right, thank you, Beth. I was in earlier today and looked at the plan. It's a very interesting plan, by the way. And I did talk to the gentleman earlier today with Jody. So one section of his roof, both are shed roofs, and one section is a 3/4 on 12, and then the other part is 5/12, as you told me. The parapets only go like three ways; they don't go to the end, so you're not doing scuppers; they're just running off the roof.
Yes.
Okay, so 3/4 on 12 is for every 2 feet is 1.5 inches slope. Okay, and I'm trying to explain this a little easier. Okay, then 5/12. I have no problem with flat roofs, and with this project, I have no problem at all. In fact, I think it's a very interesting project. I tend as a builder to stay away from flat roofs in residential, okay? I mean, I've seen 12/12 roofs. I've seen, almost straight down with no snow. I mean, if you were in California and warm weather all year round, you wouldn't have to worry about stuff like this. But we do have cold weather and snow buildup and snow loads on trusses, which I'm sure have been spec'd out, so I'm not worried about that either with your project. But my concern is for the change of the ordinance, okay? Because, as I talked to Kate earlier, it says in here, roofs for single unit dwellings may be flat or pitched. If the single unit dwelling includes a pitched roof, the roof pitch shall be at least 312. I agree with that 100%. That's 3 inches for every 12 on the incline, okay? So 3 up, 12 for every 12, okay? So 6 inches on 2 feet, so on and so forth. But my point being on a flat roof, I'm just wondering about the wording here, a flat roof. Now, I know our building official will catch it and approve it either way, but there's many ways to do slopes on flat roofs. I mean, either a shed, like with the Liquor Muni right now, is 1/4 on 4 feet, but it's a slope to the backside. So from west to east, it's pitched like this. Buildings I've built, I've done a ridge beam down the middle, and I've sloped it like this for a 312, 412 type of situation. And even though you don't see it with the parapet walls, if you looked at it from an end view, you would see the roof slope to this, and I had scuppers on both sides of the building. Okay, so I'm just wondering about wording this so that because it sounds like to me you're only giving a pitch to a pitched roof. You're not giving any direction to the pitch on a flat roof, and flat roofs need to be pitched in some way, whether it's a shed or a slope, whatever. Like on houses you see gable roofs or whatever. I'm trying to make this simply understood. I mean, you enjoy some experience with construction, but some others may not. in this particular project, I have no problem with your project. It's not about you, it's about the ordinance change we're doing it. And I'm wondering if a better way to do it would be by variance per project, although we have a check and balance in place by our building official, okay? But a flat roof will not drain, okay? Plumbing is usually a 1/4 inch slope pitch on every 4 feet, okay? You have to have some slight pitch for drainage, okay? I'll give you an example. A temporary change on a condensation line at the liquor muni was changed and rerouted while during the construction. And when they rerouted it, they took the line down off the units and ran it flat. All that did was build up water and it never drained anywhere, and that backed up into the units. So what we did was, through a couple tire racks, we sloped it, pitched it down to where we wanted to drain, and the floors clean dry, and the tube and the condensation is running out. I'm just saying to you, I'm just wondering, I don't want to make this hard. I'm just saying to you, I'm just wondering on the flat part of it. We should say that flat roofs have to have pitch too.
Must shed water.
Must shed water. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. However you want to say it, must be able to shed water. That it can't stay flat, because a flat roof will maintain snow and cold and will end up increasing snow loads on it and will just be a pain. I know it won't pass through fill, I know that, but I just know how the public works too. Unless you spell it out for them, which is what you guys have done great work on, taking out the gray areas out of our areas that have been graded.
Or something else upside in the center.
Yeah, and then it could come back, well, you can explain it well in our ordinances and all that. So I'm just saying, if we don't do it by variance, could we at least say what Jason just said about must drain water or shed water off the roof? And how they do that, then they come back to building officials. So, does that make sense?
Yep, and Mayor and Council, that's something that we could add after this first sentence here. You know, roofs for single unit dwellings may be flat or pitched. If it's a flat roof, it must shed water. If it's pitched, then it needs to be a 312.
You got it. I like it. Thank you, Jason. I knew I could get something out of this. Anyway, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, and I'm going to pass on for comment anyways, but I just want to say I haven't given that up, okay? Rob, your comments on this?
Oh, I would be more inclined, I'm with you, probably even more, a little bit to the left of you, Mayor. I'm for your project, but I'm more for the variance than changing our roof structure. So that's kind of where I'm at, language or whatever, we leave it the way it is. Flat roofs are not conducive to Minnesota weather. If someone wants a variance, I'm more than willing to give them a variance, but I'm not willing to throw that out there for builders to throw a bunch of flat roofs out there, sell these homes to these people, and find out that they've skirted the issue, and all these homeowners are left with a bunch of problems. So that's where I stand. I'd love to approve your thing when it comes in for a variance, but I'm not for changing this policy.
All right, thank you, Rob.
Mayor,
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
if we can just jump in. So the reason that this is coming before you as a code amendment versus a variance is because of the criteria that we have when we look at variance requests. So variances do need to meet practical difficulties, and that's something that there isn't for this site. You know, there's no particular hardship or reason why it couldn't have a pitched roof, other than the applicant would prefer to have a flat roof. So from a city liability standpoint, you know, we would not be supportive of a variance request in this case. That's why we suggested going the amendment route. So that's why you have the amendment before you instead of just a variance.
Right, and just to let council know, this gentleman has a house just like this in Elk River, I believe, right? And he's moving here. It's a very interesting design. It's more modern, you know, and I like it and all that. And it will, I think, I understand your concerns, they were my concerns too, but I think if we add that language in here, then we have a building official that's on top of everything anyways. But what it does is make sure that no matter what they do, they cannot have a flat roof. That a roof has to shed water. And as long as you put that in there and clarify it, I think it takes all the question marks out of it. My only concern I had, by the way, is it doesn't really talk about flats, it talks about pitched roofs. And pitched roofs are pitched roofs, they shed. Again, they're gable roofs or whatever, even hip roofs, whatever, they shed water. Garages are no less, I believe by code, no less than a 312, no less than a 312. So the 312 is fine, again, 3 inches for every 12 you go up. But as long as we put in there, must shed water, then it's up to the building official to make sure that the slopes and pitches are right. I think we're okay with that, because variances can be difficult, they're costly, and if you come with a variance the way Beth's talking about right now, the odds of him getting that would be not happening. And we don't want to turn people off coming to our city over a slope rough or lack of a pitch rough. So I agree with you, but then I think the extra language of verbiage can make a difference. If that's something you can agree with.
No, I can't. Builders do things very cheaply, and there'll be a lot of flat roofed houses in here with the way that the trusses are skyrocketing in price. And I'm pretty sure it's cheaper to put a flat roof on that place than it would be to put a pitched roof. And we're gonna have a bunch of unhappy residents running around with flat roofs that are leaking into their homes. So I still can't get there, on this one.
Okay, all right. Sarah, your comments on this?
I'm in favor of the ordinance change with the change of the verbiage in it. I think it's perfectly clear. We're not going to have a bunch of flat roof homes going in because people don't generally want that. That's not what they're looking for, is a bunch of flat roof homes. So I think this is fine. I heard from the gentleman at the planning and zoning, and I'm 100% for it.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, your comments?
I like the concept also. If the gentleman's house is going to look similar to that, they've done this once before. Elk River didn't, their building inspector didn't have a problem with it. They didn't have a massive influx of flat roofed homes, but what I'm concerned is the current roof pitch requirement is aesthetic in nature and was put in place many years ago to discourage individuals from mobile homes from being placed on single unit lots. Since then, mobile homes have been protected by state statute and are required to be permitted anywhere that a detached single unit dwelling will be allowed. Are we conflicting with that at all by changing or amending ours in such a way, or are we kind of a housekeeping measure? Is this?
Yep, Mayor and Council, this is really cleaning it up and actually supporting that protection. So it wouldn't be hindering where manufactured homes could go by allowing a flat roof. That would be something that we would be supporting the state requirements.
And if we use the term, Mayor, must shed water, you can shed water in a lot of ways, mechanically, via pumps, via hydronics, whatever. Should we say gravity in there in some, or specified even a little finer than just must shed water?
Well, how about we do like must shed water through a pitch of the roof?
I think that it gets a little tighter in my eyes.
Well, that's a good idea. I never thought about the mechanical part of it, but
I mean, you can gather water in one certain area and have a pump mechanically somewhere else. Again, like Rob said, people will come up with all kinds of imaginative things to skirt. But I mean, it must shed water with, I think with some pitch, some degree of pitch should be.
some degree of pitch, some degree of pitch, I like that. Because, and mobile homes, by the way, have pitched roofs too.
They do.
Whether it be gables or, you know, whether flats and slope and a slat on a ledge, on a shed type of a building frame.
If we tighten it up that way, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, me too. So how, can we do that like that? Must shed water by some form of pitch? Or something to that effect, you could do it in a form that you want to.
Some degree.
Some degree of.
All flat roofs must have
A degree.
minimal pitch to shed water.
I like it. Minimal pitch to shed water. How about that? Keep it simple, you know what?
They don't confuse me with Dave, think about that language.
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable?
That's acceptable. When we do the motion, we're going to include that language.
Okay, I'm probably gonna have Jason read that too. Okay, Joe, your comments?
I'd have to agree, to me it sounds like a housekeeping issue in regards to the state statute and the purpose of why we had it there to begin with. I think cleaning that up and adding the protection of the ability to shed water should clarify that, as long as if we find anything in the future, we can always amend it to make it better worded as well. You know, if that's, for some reason, we start to have issues or had an issue, but I understand Rob's concern. However, I think that it's fine as long as we have protection of the pitch. I know a lot of flat roofs too can, well, at least the older ones hit a tar it and do all sorts of fun stuff with it. And I know personally, I would not want that. So there's different things that can come with those, but I don't have an issue.
So I'm thinking about something here, flat roof must shed water with some degree of slope, because the real correct verbiage in construction is slope, not pitch. Okay, that's the truth.
So if you have pitch in one and pitch in the other, then it gets confusing.
Slope is a real construction verb. So I'm gonna try to remember this as I read this thing, so, gosh.
There's gotta be something out there that already exists, would be my guess.
Let me just take a second.
Are we able to approve this tonight and then amend the second reading with slightly different language or no?
Because I'm sure Phil probably has some input, okay?
Mayor and council, we're kind of getting off track. This is technically our first reading. If we're still not comfortable with any of the language, we can bring it back for a first reading. If you're going to make minor adjustments between now and the second reading, we'll bring it back as a second reading. But Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, after that second reading, we're set with what we're publishing.
Correct.
So,
That's what I was curious about, that we have a little bit of wiggle room to possibly between the first reading now, and that way we don't slow anything down either necessarily from gentleman's project.
well, and Mayor and council, so we do have the ability, we could add in there that, you know, the flat roofs must shed water with some degree of slope, or we could set, you know, must have a quarter 12 or half 12. I mean, there's ways to do this that we're not, by prolonging this, we're prolonging the building permit.
We don't
That's
want to do that, so
Nope.
let's just keep it simple. I just wrote it down here. A flat roof must shed water having some degree of slope. And then it leaves it up to the discretion of the building official, okay? And then we can move on with this. It's just that I can't live with just a flat roof flat. I can't do that, okay?
Yeah.
If they're building too long, to know the headaches that come with doing just something stupid like that, okay? I would be not doing my job if I let it go like that, okay? So I'm gonna read this simply, and let's put it into the book, okay? Let's just do that. All right, resolution 2021-XX, approving a comprehensive plan, wait, no, that's wrong. Amendment to the city code section 10-61-01, dwelling, single unit, detached, first reading, with the new verbiage, addition of verbiage, a flat roof must shed water having some degree of slope.
I'll make that one.
All right, Councilor Newbar makes that motion, is there a second? Councilor Goodrich makes a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Roll call, isn't it?
Okay.
It's a roll call, it's not.
Going in a roll call on this?
Or,
It's not an ordinance, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
to amend the code.
Well then, spell it out as an ordinance here, next time on the sheet here. Because all I see is an amendment to city code, I don't see an ordinance anywhere.
It's in there.
Okay, because an ordinance, I know it's a roll call, a resolution, I know it's a voice, okay? So, do a roll call then, Diana, please.
Councilman Bradley,
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Bauer,
Me.
Councilmember Mueller,
Aye.
Mayor Bauman,
Aye. All right, motion carries 4-1. Okay, did everybody understand what we're doing here? The simple part of it? To you, good luck on your home, looks very interesting, I'll be anxious to see it all when it's done.
Awesome.
When are you starting?
As soon as I get one permit.
All right.
It's already submitted, yeah, all the differences are in, and so.
And then you'll make that notation on your plan about the slope.
Yes, yep, and it'll be drawn differently a little bit too.
So when are you projecting your finish?
Spring probably. Spring will be end, yeah. We were supposed to start early spring this year, just kind of everything was held up and stuff.
And you're living in that home in Elk River right now then?
No, we sold that house.
Okay.
Yep, so yeah, I wanted to say a couple things, but, flat roofs are just, they're different. I'm not bringing that idea from somewhere, coming from a different country, I'm not bringing that here and stuff like that. But like Seattle, Washington, they have a lot of flat roofs. And sometimes they have snow, like it'll just dump snow, and then it'll melt right away. But all those flat roofs, they hold up the snow. Same this house in Elk River. Over 5 years that we lived there, there's no cracks in the sheetrock. There's nothing, it's different than a gable roof. First of all, it's a hot roof. The whole space of the eye joist is insulated.
So there's no cold, hot, like an open gable roof would have, so the sheetrock doesn't crack. Just different benefits, no ice dams. Yeah.
Right, because it's insulated probably, we don't have any problem with your project, okay?
Yeah.
Let me just get- We're doing this because we know if we don't spell it out clearly for people,
Yeah.
that we're gonna have some headaches down the road that you won't have, but we will have.
Yeah.
So we're just doing some preventive maintenance for us.
Okay.
Okay? For your project, it looks very interesting now, I'll be anxious to see it when it's completed. I have worked on flat roofs houses, and I've seen them, I have no problem with them, but unlike Portland, our snow stays for a while.
Oh, yeah, I understand, yep, and the same in Oakland, we have 5 years. I've had a lot of snow on it, never could tell. People ask me if I go there and shovel, no, you don't do
No,
that.
because you are, but you're sloped.
It's slow, yep, but it holds the snow, and the snow doesn't melt because of just the, I guess, insulation on my part, but also ice dams and stuff like that.
Right, but you're doing a hot roof, so the temperature of the inside is not affecting the outside.
Yes, exactly.
I
So
understand
it's
how ice
staying-
dams
yep.
work.
Yeah.
I mean, so you'll be just fine, we're just doing it for our end, make sure it doesn't come back to haunt us later, okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you. Thank you, staff, for putting up with us, but I have to, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't do this, okay? All right, anyways, let's see, we're done there, now we're gonna move on to schedule a work session. Joe?
Mayor and council, I have in the packet, looking to schedule a work session for next week, the 9th. I did find out there's a council member that has a conflict that particular week, so if you guys are willing to, I know staff would be willing to hold it at some point during the week of the 16th, if that's gonna work for everybody. So we have a council meeting and a work session in the same week, very aggressive.
Right, and this is about budget, so it's important to have all council members attend, okay? The 16th is a council meeting, so we can't do it then. So 17th, 18th, or 19th, I'm thinking like 17th or the 18th, which is good for everybody. I'll start with Sarah, which one?
Either one can work.
All right, Rob, anyone?
I would prefer the 17th, the 21st is a big day, so I will have a lot of stuff to do.
Okay, Joe?
I would prefer next week sometime if possible, just because there's some uncertainties with my schedule and whatnot. But I can try and do the 17th, but I can't promise anything.
Okay, but
I
Kevin.
can obviously talk to staff as well, really, I miss
All right, but Kevin's gonna be gone the week of the 9th, I take it, is that what you're on?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
You know,
Kevin, how,
You can do it for the 17th and we can see what happens. I mean, it's not, I can always catch up, I'm always in touch with staff, so.
is that agreeable with you, Joe?
Yeah, if by chance council members are unable to attend, I certainly would sit down with whomever it is and maybe just go over everything. And there may be another opportunity for a September work session after we have this.
Well, let me ask you this, Kim, is it possible, Dave, to do a Zoom meeting on a situation like that?
An individual could zoom in on that, they would not be a voting member
Okay.
of the body.
Okay, well, we're not gonna be voting on the budget anyways. Beth, thank you, by the way.
Thank you.
So, what I was gonna say was, because the 17th would probably work out better for Kevin, but you might be gone, but he could zoom in, right? Or if he was out of town, he could zoom in. There's no voting going on with the budget, right? It's just preliminary?
General direction.
Discussion and whatnot.
Okay,
If the meeting is being held here and it's posted as here, he can zoom in.
well, it would be probably at the city hall, a work session.
Yep.
Same thing?
Yeah, as long as it's posted where it is.
Is that, I'm trying to get an agreeable situation here.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, you know what? It's
I hate to get flips, just on my account, are you stationary? Are you able to zoom on something like that?
I should be, given my potential circumstances. I
Okay.
don't have any clarity.
Is it easier to Zoom
Particular time.
for Kevin? Is
I
it
should be
easier to
able
Zoom
to.
for you?
It's easier probably to Zoom for Joe than it is for Kevin. Okay, so let's go on the 17th, okay? Let's just go on the 17th at 5:30 or 6, which is preferable, people, everybody? Earlier, 5:30. So let's go 5:30, we'll do a work session. 5:30 at the community center, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be.
Okay, and Joe, if you have to, you'll zoom in, okay? And then it's not, no vote, it's a, but
Yeah, it's discussion.
discussion.
Will you be stationary? Will you be able to do
I should be able to, yeah.
it?
He's done
I
it
hate to,
before.
I'll be driving on the 9th, so I couldn't zoom if it was on the 9th.
Either way, we can agree.
Well, this will be fine, this will be fine.
I'll read the packet, ask questions prior to it anyway, so it's.
So 17th, Tuesday, 5:30 at the community center, okay? And if necessary, if Joe's not here, he'll zoom in, and we can do that, legally and everything, okay?
And worst comes to worst, Joe and I can meet once we get the packet, maybe he doesn't even have questions, and that's so be it, or whatever.
There's always questions on budgets.
Fair enough.
I can give them my input too, and you can share it, worst case scenario.
Okay, well, we've done that before when you've been on work, so we can do that again, okay? All right, agreeable, everybody? All right, Joe, you have your direction then on that?
Thank you for the accommodation.
It'll cost you sooner or later.
That's fine, I can pay that.
Okay, all right. Listen, meeting open to the public. Anybody else? No? No? Okay. All right, reports, department reports, community development, Kate, you are up.
Mayor and council, so in your packet is the community development report for our April through June. Happy to answer any questions. I run through the economic development. Our EDA did not have any meetings. The housing developments, want to point out that we had 26 new construction in the first half of the year and a total of 251 permits. That includes zoning, decks, fences, new construction, etc. Through the administration, we've worked on a lot of ordinance updates. Code enforcement is moving along as heavy as ever. And then the planning commission has actually met every month this year so far, and we're on track to meet in August and September, so we keep our planning commission busy as well. The one thing I did want to add is at Night 2 Night tomorrow night, we are kicking off the park planning efforts. The survey is open, so we will be soliciting individuals for them to either go on virtually through the QR code in the back or in a paper ballot. I have additional surveys, so if anybody else is doing any parties, I got covered some. So if you're aware of other parties or other events and you would like to bring some postcards, please let me know before I leave. And we will get those added. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, I like the report a lot. Your graphs are good and explanations and everything are good. I see code enforcement is doing really well with the way we structured that with our officer, Lyle Hearns, and Jody doing the administrative part and all that. I think that's working out really well. And it says here, of course, 2 properties, however, continue to work against staff and may be brought to council in the future. You know, but what that does, this new way of doing things has reduced the amount that will come to council, which was our goal as a council, if you recall, because we're not really in favor of abatements. It puts our back to the wall and all that. So I think this plan, kudos to the, Lyle doing a great job, which I think definitely was the person for the job. And Jody was definitely the person in the administrative part to do that part of it. And it's working. Like I say, there's no perfect system. And any system can be tweaked, but this system's working so far. I'm very pleased myself, so thank you so much for that. Joe, your comments on this?
I don't have any questions. I think we discussed on a phone call most of the stuff at the beginning of your packet here. Good report as usual. Not really any questions.
Kevin?
Good report. I sent in my 2.5 years here so far a little uptick in Kate's enthusiasm level when I first started here. It's kind of like just trying and the department as a whole. So I commend her on that, and now I can, there's some things happening, which is some positivity. And sometimes people say, why isn't anything going on? Well, there's lots of intricacies that we aren't aware of until we come to these meetings and or get our packet. But Kate and her group are toiling heavily on this stuff, so it's neat to see, and it's neat to see her smile at meetings like this, because things are starting to pop a little bit. Even when there's an economy that's kind of on the bubble, but something's happening in St. Francis, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. Sarah, your comment?
Excellent report, excellent work. Keep up the good work. We're growing. As much as some people fight it, it's not a bad thing, it's very good.
Good, thank you. Rob?
Kate, very good report. I was just looking at the numbers. Are we on pace with the 26 to be right around that 57 by the end of the year, or over that?
So Mayor and Council, this time last year, we were at 27, so we are just one under where we were sitting. So with the River's Edge development opening up 45 new lots, we're hearing rumbles that some of those are moving quickly, so we may see quite a bit. I do know that from bathtubs to siding, a lot of these other pieces of the construction, as lumber is lightening up, there are other pieces that are getting worse. So I think some of these new construction builders are kind of sitting back with some of that as well right now, so.
Yeah, it's frustrating in that aspect, but we'll see.
All we can do. Wait and see. Okay, thank you so much, Kate, on your report. There's a lot of things that Kate doesn't bring to our attention until she's fully vetted, so we may hear things, but until we know things, we don't put it out to the public until we're for sure. That's something we've all agreed to do, and I think that's smart. Otherwise, someone may say, well, you told us this is going to happen, and it doesn't. Well, we'll wait and see. When it happens, we'll let you know when it gets to that point that we can let it out, which we want to, but not until we're sure. All right, moving on to council member reports. Rob, I'll start with you.
I don't have anything to really report. It's been a hectic week, work-wise, but I hope to get out for 19 night. I don't want to burst up other people's party bubbles or whatever. So I'm hoping to be out tomorrow night and nothing to report.
All right, thank you. Sarah, your report?
I too plan to attend the 19 night tomorrow night at the park. I'm very much looking forward to that. I did attend the planning and zoning and the work session that we had. I did not attend the board meeting because we had the work session. And I needed a break.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Joe?
Done the work session with the rest of the council. Just looking forward to the 19 night tomorrow, and I don't know what time I'll be there, but I'm sure I'll be out.
Okay. Kevin?
I attended the planning and zoning meeting and interesting potential development maybe coming up down the road, and we'll see how the next meeting goes for them. Other than that, work session, very informative work session last week. We had about an hour, almost 2 hours involved, talking about future infrastructure and what we need to keep growing as a city rather than just chugging along and help reduce our costs as far as utilities go in the wastewater treatment and the things. And then also sponsoring 19 night tomorrow night in Smith Lake neighborhood. We've had about 6 last minute check-in, which is awesome because I think we're going to have at least probably 60 some people, kids included. But the community resource officer, we've contacted them, and my wife's got some packets and stuff together to get some more interaction with the kids rather than laying back in the weeds there. We got some puzzles and some question and answer stuff to go on. So this will be our 4th year, and it's getting bigger every year, and we found some shades in the cul-de-sac, so it's going to be comfortable as well. So looking forward to it.
Very good, very good. All right, so just to let everybody know, of course, tomorrow is National Night Out, and there will be a circus at the elementary school with 2 shows at 5 and 7:30, and then the National Night Out at the community park is from 4 till 7:30. We will have a bacon butt barbecue food truck there. The city will be doing hot dogs for people who don't like pork, and we will be having cotton candy and root beer floats and other activities. And then I think I checked with Kirby from Subway, and the circus will have popcorn and caramel corn, but that's it there. So
And the ambassadors will be having their bake sale as well.
Oh, okay.
I confirmed that.
Thank you. Okay, so you could start over at the National Night Out at the community park, and then go to the circus, and then you could come back to National Night Out, and then go back to the circus. But either way, it's going to be a lot of activity in a small area, so it should be a lot of fun for everybody. And, I would wish for rain, not on that day. Every other day I would like it, but not on that day anyway. So anyway, hats off to Public Works and staff for putting this all together. Police Department, Lori, I know she drives herself crazy, but always does a great job at the end. So I always comment her, I tease her a little bit about it, but she does a great job. She worries right up to the last second, and then she's relieved after it's all done. And no matter how many times you tell her it turns out great, she still worries for the one next year. So, but she does a great job, and all staff does. So, by the way, I want to take time here to thank the staff of the liquor community, okay? Because I know what you're going through as I see it almost every day. They are exceptional in working the hours that they are and around the construction. I mean, there's saw cutting going on. It would be a lot different if we were just adding on the addition to the building without affecting the existing part, but we are affecting that for the bigger change that we're hoping to do here. But they have been excellent in their patience. I've seen how they work with customers, and especially John, where he teases them, and it's just amazing to me. I mean, it's got a little camaraderie between them, but people are coming in and still are excited about it from what John the staff tells me. So my hat's off to you as far as being patient. We're gonna get through this and look back at this and remember these days and think about, we'll never have to do this again for quite a long, long time. But it's, I'm pressing upon council to get out there and look at it, you know, check it out. Kevin was there, I'm sure Joe will stick out there. Rob has seen it, and Sarah saw it with me. It's changing on a daily basis now, so right now we're at a point, the roof has been, other than flashing on the parapet walls, the roof has been tight, you know, watertight, insulated. We have foam insulation to get a hot roof, as we mentioned earlier with that gentleman. We have that in there. They're getting, doing a lot of demo, which is being done in the front, but the store is going to be huge. It will expand well above 7,000 square feet now from about the 4,500 that it is right now. So things are going really good. We've got some things that will be a benefit to it with the HVAC systems and sewer systems and stuff like that. So it's going to be a real change here. And we are talking now about a good grand opening week for it when it starts, when it gets to that point in November to do it. John's got some ideas, and I think that it should turn out really nice here. But I also want to thank Jason and his staff, Parrish and Jeremy, working with me on that. The more eyes on this, the better it is with this particular company we're dealing with. But they've done an excellent job keeping on top of the whole project thus far. And it is where it is because of the work they've done along with me, and I appreciate that very much, very much. That's something I had planned to do, but I definitely want this to turn out well, so I'm willing to take the time.
Can I say one thing, Mayor?
Absolutely.
If we had a mayor who was an accountant or a florist or a doctor, this wouldn't be going as smooth, so some kudos should go to you as well for being the project manager. Whether you want to be there or not, this is your bailiwick, this is what you like to do, and then you have a support team. But what people don't know is how much you've done over there, so keeping it on track and saving the city money and watching where the pennies or stuff going, and you're building it like it was your own, so we appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and I am taking that effort as always my own, because I know it leads into many other good things for us, and it's a key for us. But staff, nothing can be done here by council without the support of staff. Any council member can initiate a conversation on any issue, but at the end of the day, it's staff coming together and making it happen, bring it to fruition. That's a fact. We've stated that ever since we started in 17, and we've shown it many times over that all gets done by all working as a team. That's what it's all about. And again, I commend all my staff and all of our staff rather in the cohesive force that we are together. It's really made changes from what we saw sitting on that audience part versus up here. So, and it's nice to see that the public is a little more supportive too since we came in too. I think that's a big deal. Sorry that we couldn't get Houdini working today.
I got it working about 50 minutes ago.
All
We
right.
got it working, but it was from 7:22 to 21.
I had all the settings on Houdini disappeared.
It's wrong date.
Reset it.
Oh, it was a wrong date? Was it what the
Yeah,
problem
that's why I rushed up here, because I was like, what are they talking about? I don't think this is right.
So it was so you just didn't have a 2 date in versus 7/22 date, is that what it was?
It wasn't working to begin with.
Oh, did I put the wrong date?
Yeah, the wrong date.
No, all the settings on it were missing, so I had to go back through and set up all the settings again. And then, yes, I did, all that.
So Liz,
I did
when it's
the wrong date.
working, does it make a difference? Does it make a difference where you can hear us better and see us
Yeah,
better?
I thought it was all right. I wasn't sure what was happening because it said it was 7:22. But then we were talking about the roof, and I'm like, I just had that meeting. And then I come in here and you guys are all wearing the same outfits, so it's like, okay, that's why I came up here.
But it worked.
But it seemed work, yeah. You have to, on your phone though, it has to be tilted the other way, so you can actually see the picture, otherwise the very top picture is,
A panoramic view.
yeah,
How's
very,
it
very
sound?
great. But you sounded very clear, it sounded very well.
Really?
It doesn't pick up Sarah, and it didn't pick up Beth, but it picked up Kate. So the camera does go to different people.
Well, hey, it's a try. It's an attempt at something. We've been talking about it, now we're actually trying something. That's always good.
Only get better with time.
All right, well anyways, and once again, I also want to tell you, thank Public Works for the house on the corner of Bridge and Ambassador. That lot now has been cleaned up. Looks very nice, by the way. And I'm thrilled to see that land is forest now. We're working with a future project down the road, but it really shows how big that site is now.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very smart move on our end to pick up those properties. But Scott did a very good job cleaning that site up.
Yep.
Had some delays here with the dumpsters. But since then, we saw it today, it flattened out like it is, looks pretty good, so, should get no complaints on that. Other than that. All right, I think that's about it on my end here. I think, again, National Night Out, I hope everybody gets out there and attends. It should be a fun evening between the circus and National Night Out, and let's have some fun for a change. Because it's been a lot of time that past year, so. Anyways, we're all there, and come on out there and enjoy the day, the night. From 4 to 7:30 at the community park, and shows again at the elementary school at the circus, 5 and 7:30. Okay, any other business we have to attend to, Joe?
No further business.
That's it. Well, then, on that case, I'm going to adjourn this meeting on Monday, August 2nd at 7:30.